Darkest greetings, horror, sci-fi, and beyond fans. Drew here from Horror, Sci-Fi, and Beyond, and we got a special video. We got a video or an episode where we're just gonna ramble, but we're gonna have like select talking points. So one of them
I
is
mean,
the
I
reason
feel
why
like
we're
all of our videos are rambling, but
yeah, but
yes,
specifically
Yeah.
we're just gonna just talk about whatever. But
pure
Jack,
ramble. This is just pure ramble at this point. No,
yeah,
unadulterated, unedited ramble.
but
Ramble on. Yeah.
um, but the reason why we're really here is because Jackson wants to talk about Guardians 3.
Yeah.
But I do want to do these kind of these kind of episodes, maybe like once a month or every other month. Just kind of test that. Kind of talk about
Yeah,
what we're
yeah.
gonna watch in
What have you
review.
seen? What's new? Yeah.
Yeah. So before we get to any of that stuff, let's just dedicate maybe like 15, 20 minutes to Guardians 3, because we all seen it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right
So
off
let's
the
go
top.
for
Let's
Jackson, since you're the one that
Well,
wants
how much do we want to say about it? Because
spoilers.
obviously,
Please
in like
spoilers.
what
Please spoilers.
Okay.
spoilers? Okay. Well, because obviously we're going to talk about this in like 2 years once we finally get to the end of MCU look back.
Yeah, well, because when we get to 4 and
But
5, we're posting every other month.
I know, so it's going to take us a while to get to it. But yeah, so this movie, I was looking forward to it. I knew I was going to like it. Of course, there's always a little bit of needle in the back of your brain saying, oh, maybe it's not going to be good because, Quantum Mania wasn't any good and Wakanda Forever was okay, but still not up to the level of the first one.
Most
That's
of
not their fault. That was out of their hands. But you get to Guardians, and that's probably my favorite individual franchise within the MCU, if you're not counting the Avengers movies. If you're just going by like the solo characters and the teams and stuff like that. Okay. And this movie absolutely destroyed me.
Oh no.
In a good way, in the best possible way. I walked into this movie and walked out 2.5 hours later, and I couldn't even talk to or look at the people I was with, because I had spent the entire movie assuming the position of a puddle on the floor. And yeah, we can get into some sort of specifics of it in a second, but that's my general take on it.
100%.
It's my favorite movie of the year so far.
I loved it. I go back and forth whether I like this one or two better.
Same.
At the end of the day, but I did the same thing. I went, sat by myself on a row by myself, and just like ugly cried for like 2.5 hours. And then when it's over, you're just kind of like, I want to ride again. I want to go back, because it's the end essentially. And man,
I
like
saw it
when
3 times.
Yeah, I need to go watch. But this is the first movie in a long while. When it was over with, I was just like, I think I'm just going to maybe buy another ticket and go watch it again. I didn't, but I almost did.
Yeah.
And it was just like the end was really like gut punched me. Was the saying it's weird about getting older and like losing friends, or not losing friends, just growing out of touch with friends. The end of Return of the King does it for me now too, in a different way than when I was a kid. And so like them all saying goodbye at the end of this movie and Return of the King hits somewhere differently in my brain for some reason. But yeah, Drax saying goodbye to Mantis. Oh
Man. The wonderful gem of a relationship that until the holiday special, you didn't even really. Now, I guess in Guardians 2, they start to build on that.
They hint at it. Yeah, they started a little
bit.
But
yeah, once you get to the holiday special, like that has become like a central focus of the series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew, what you got?
This movie. I thought it was really good. I still like Guardians 2 more.
That's what we were just talking about.
Understandable.
I go back and forth on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have more of an emotional connection to that film, personally.
That's fair.
But one kind of thing I was thinking about was like some of the musical choices, and I was kind of listening back to some of them, And the one that that really kind of makes me think about Guardians, or kind of put the biggest smile on my face from this particular soundtrack, song by the boss himself, Bruce Springsteen. Bad.
Oh, okay.
Because I was listening to that recently, like the other day, and it just brought me up. And Bruce Springsteen's music is a lot of fun, like the Guardians.
Yeah.
It's big and epic, and all about seeking glory, and being the underdog and all that stuff. And I was just listening to this song, and I'm like, it just brought me back so many memories of the Guardians through these movies.
Yeah.
Including
No, I mean, like all these movies, the soundtrack, for lack of a better word, slaps. And it's great. There's only the Beastie Boys is maybe like too obvious of a choice sometimes. I feel like they put Beastie Boys in any sort of like family friendly movie sometimes.
Yeah.
But like the Faith No More track is great. The song's amazing.
I didn't like the Faith No More thing. I thought that was.
I loved it. It's a deep cut too. Like it's from like the guy previous to like the '90s Faith No More. It was.
Yeah,
I loved it.
from Mike Patton.
I don't even know what song you're talking about with that one.
It's where they first go to the planet, and it's the "We Care a Lot" song. It's got this really like percussive, it's great.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, the only one, the Beastie Boys one, just because it's like, I feel like anytime you want to put a rap song in a family friendly film, it's just like the Beastie Boys is like the go-to version of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, we can't. Yeah.
I like the music in this one. I felt like some of the musical choices didn't really fit. So, like, for example, when Adam Warlock is flying to nowhere, they play like "Praising on You" by Heart, which makes no sense.
Oh yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
And then they're on like that one planet, like trying to get in, and they play "In the Meantime" by Space Hawk. Great song, that was the Heart song, but like it made no sense for the scene. And then they randomly played like San Francisco by the Moleys, which was weird.
I was fine with most of the musical choices except for really the Beastie Boys one, just because it was just like felt very obvious. But
I thought the best one was Creep. Like you cannot tell me that the Creep
one's really good.
I mean,
and
that's a great opening.
Man, that was amazing. That was like the best use of a song in probably any superhero movie, probably.
Well, I really loved the Florence and the Machine song at the end of the movie.
It's perfect choice to end that.
It's a perfect choice, and you get the idea that I'm not sure that would be a song that would be on Peter Quill's Zune.
Probably not.
I'll let the movie fudge it a little bit because it is the perfect song in spirit to how the movie ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just love that song in general. Those first couple Florence and the Machine albums are pretty solid all the way.
Yeah, I need to listen to them.
Lungs, Ceremonials, and I forget what how Big, How Blue, How Beautiful. All those are great albums. I haven't listened to a lot of the recent stuff, but yeah, those first three are like.
And I thought another good one was with Alice Cooper. I'm always looking for rainbows, or the rainbow. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. That was so good. And like this is I just gotta say, this is kind of a fucked up movie.
Oh yeah.
You got this Grant. What's the bad guy's name? The
High Evolutionary.
Evolutionary.
Yeah, you have that High Evolutionary who basically wants to build a perfect society, and he's doing these weird experiments on animals. And like you find out that Rocket with a group of other animals was in this batch where they're experimenting on to see what works and what doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
And there's something that's a little bit off for this guy, for this villain.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
he's
kill him. They're just gonna kill all these.
He's the most despicable Marvel villain ever.
Yeah, there's no redeeming quality. Like at no point do they like maybe he has a tragic backstory. No, he is just a complete.
I didn't think it was gonna get much worse than Ego, who's my favorite villain, and he still is. Because like he kills our main character's mother, which sets him on. But like the opening scene, like when you see like the hand come in. Well, 'cause
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to open like that.
Oh,
Like I
oh
thought it
yeah,
was
yeah,
more
yeah, yeah.
fun, like the other Guardians movies. But then you
Yeah.
see like all those raccoons.
Tears just start welling up, and
Oh
you're just like,
yeah.
oh
Oh
no,
my god!
oh,
No, I know what's gonna
oh.
happen now.
Yeah, and that's probably the worst part about those scenes, those flashbacks with Rocket is that you know nothing good is going to come of these.
Mm.
And
No.
so every time they cut back to him, you're just kind of like, oh, is it going
Yeah.
to happen this one? Oh no.
Yeah,
And then
and
it
Yeah.
just builds and builds and
And then when
builds.
you get to the scene,
Hmm.
like the scene of all
yeah,
the
when they kill
flashbacks.
Lila.
Oh my God. I had to leave the room when I
Yeah.
first saw it. I had to walk out into the little hallway at the theater and like beat my fists against the wall. I was so upset by that. It was
Hmm.
absolutely awful. I just everything about the scene from, the way the high evolutionary comes in and shoots Lila, and then you get Floor just yelling, "Rocket Tief's floor go now! Rocket Tief's floor go now!" and just keeps yelling it over and over again until finally the other guards come in and kill Tiefs and Floor. And then the way that Rocket reacts, just this primal scream,
Hmm.
Right.
and then the way he jumps on the high evolutionary and just destroys the guy's face.
Mm.
And it is so raw. There's never been anything quite that raw in a Marvel movie
No,
before.
I
no.
think the worst part for me, in the whole backstory side of the movie, was when they're discussing their names. Because
Yeah.
oh, somebody's gonna go. This is gonna go south.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like what you
worst
said
part
there.
for sorry, worst part for me is like Rocket's first word. He just says
Oh, he just
hurts,
hurts.
and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
no, oh,
Yeah.
It's
hurts.
it, James Gunn, man.
Yeah. And when like what I was explaining to my mom when we did our Jurassic Park review, that like they keep doing the Frankenstein story over and over again, and
Hmm.
this is very much the Frankenstein
Yeah.
story.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, no, I mean like all three of these movies deal in sort of like genetics and like what it means to be like a person or a person of merit or
Mm.
like because the High Evolutionary is always trying to build towards that, and then Quill was essentially like built by because his dad went and sowed his seeds everywhere. So there's like these like genetic things running through all these movies, which I think is very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, for sure. But this movie was it was really dark, and then you get to that planet where it's like human people,
Loved it. I loved all those
and
designs.
but animals acting like
Oh, the Animal Planet. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
Animal Planet.
what is it
I
called?
love
Counter Earth, I think
Yeah,
is what they call
Counter.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Counter
yeah.
Earth. Yeah.
yeah, it's like an Earth or Earth 2 or some shit
Uh,
like
Oh my God.
yeah, no, but yeah, no, all the like all those. I think this is. I read somewhere that this has the most prosthetics for any movie ever because of that planet. Like the amount of like prosthetics they had to put on all these actors.
Yeah, it's
Um,
awesome that they did practical
yeah,
makeup for that.
easily could have just been CGI, but it works so much better
Yeah.
because it was all of it's real.
Yeah.
that. Right, for
But
Because
sure.
yeah,
it
like I
feels
mean,
even more wrong because it's
yeah,
practical makeup. It feels more of a perversion of science.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
and you know,
I
yeah,
The other scene that I just want to bring up is the scene where Rocket is essentially dying
Mm,
and he goes to the white space. It's very much like
right.
the end of Harry Potter,
Mm,
yes,
and he sees Lila, and then she's just like, "And I've been flying with our friends," and it pans over, and you see Floor and Teefs just sort of come in from out of focus, and again, at that point, I am an absolute wreck of a person
yeah, and then he
when
tells
that
her,
happens.
"Can I come?"
Can I come?
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's like, of course you can,
but
but
not.
not yet.
yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, oh man.
I will say too, it's this movie is really nice in that the other two Guardians movies and most of Marvel movies post like first Avengers is just like end of the world, end of the universe sort of stakes. Where if they don't win, it's catastrophic for millions of people. And this
Yeah.
one is just a group of people trying to save a friend, and
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
very
that.
personal. Yeah,
Yeah,
but there's still all this other stuff at stake
sure,
too.
right.
They
But
bring
that
that
doesn't come.
into
Yeah.
it, but that's not the point of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. You get stuff like you get a lot more good stuff from Nebula in this movie. Like
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
really do a strong job developing her and Gamora. Of course, now we have old Gamora, so she doesn't remember,
Right.
What's Gamora?
later Gamora. Um,
Yeah, it does
and
feel like they
then
give the other people more time to get fleshed out in this one. The
everybody
other
gets,
two
because
movies,
it's
yeah,
longer too. But
yeah,
yeah, everybody gets time. Kraglin gets time. The
yeah,
dog gets time.
Mhm.
Drax gets a wonderful character arc in this
yeah.
movie. Mantis, yeah, we talked about them a little bit. The
Mm-hmm.
scene where Mantis is going off on Nebula for because it's like, you think Drax is stupid, but he's
uh,
funny and he loves us, and I
right.
don't care that he's stupid.
It's a wonderful way of like turning like a joke into something heartfelt, or a heartfelt moment into
Yeah.
a joke. Like it works really well. It's very nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to talk about the end credit scene. Did anybody get the Easter egg?
What was the
Which
Easter egg? Wait,
Easter
what
egg?
you talking about? Very end, or like
Oh wait,
the
so when
eating
it's
breakfast?
yeah, when they're eating breakfast, when he's eating breakfast with the grandpa's reading the newspaper. The
Mm-hmm.
headline is Kevin Bacon gets kidnapped by
Mm-hmm.
aliens.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't catch that, but okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice callback to like the Christmas special. It's
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
I love that. I
That's
remember
pretty good.
because that's a recurring joke throughout these movies was
Yeah.
Star Lord, um, looked up to Kevin Bacon or his character in Footloose, and
Sure.
then
Uh-huh.
when
Who
I
put their sticks in their butts?
and then when I saw that scene or that part in the trailer for the holiday stuff, I'm like, no, they got
Yeah.
Kevin freaking Bacon to be in
It's
the
good.
AMC freaking you.
And play himself.
Yeah.
Play himself.
Well, what was even
Fair.
funnier
Yeah.
was like
Great.
right before um Drax and Mantis come to visit him or come to kidnap him, he's watching
Uh-huh.
Santa Claus versus or Conquer the Martians.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
is he? I
Yeah.
didn't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. And then when he starts freaking out, they start playing that one song, I Want an Alien for Christmas, and I just started busting
Mm.
out laughing at that point. It was so ridiculous.
Holiday special was fun. It was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
Holiday special is that first song where the band's playing and they're singing
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
about how, like, what they're
Rain,
singing about,
rain,
like Santa
rain,
Claus like
rain.
will punish you or something like
Yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah. That's really
It's good
funny.
stuff. That's the old 97s. They're like a
Yeah.
real band in real life, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the part when I love the part when Star Lord goes out into like the town square and he sees what everybody did for him, with decorating for Christmas. And then
Mm.
Yeah.
on his face, man, that
Yeah.
got me. That made me feel really warm inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Same.
that's the best part about these movies is that they somehow I find a way to like balance sort of the humor, this sort of like
Mm.
jokey, sarcastic, well, sometimes maybe mean-spirited, but
Yeah.
but balance that with a lot of heart, and that's what really kind of make these movies work. And ultimately, that's probably why, like, at the end of this movie, I was just kind of like, I think I'm emotionally done with any characters in the MCU. I don't know if I can go back to anyone and go like care
Yeah.
anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
especially since they've moved on to new stuff.
We'll see what James Gunn does with DC. I'm definitely looking forward to
We'll
that.
see. Whew.
We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I just feel like I'm very much looking forward to the Superman movie he's gonna direct, right? I just feel like the James Gunn quirkiness is gonna get into the way. But like you said, he has enough heart in those Guardians movie, so I
True.
think he leans more into
Mhm.
that.
I wish he would just go off and just do his own thing,
Yeah,
whatever he
there's
wanted to do.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I think after the
we got three pretty great Guardians movies out of him though, so that's something to be happy
yeah,
about.
I gotta say, like after that last movie, like that we watched last night, like I'm starting to kind of feel Spirit burnout a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For
Go,
sure.
and I guess we can transition to on kind of what I wanted to talk about, which is Spider-Man. I just want to talk about Spider-Man in
Mm,
general. Um,
mm-hmm.
Across the Spider-Verse is my favorite movie of the year, and
Mm,
that's a movie a lot like Guardians 3. It has a lot of
mm,
heart and a lot of
mm-hmm.
passion behind it,
Yeah.
unlike the Flash. And I love Andy Muschietti. I love what he did with the two It movie that he did.
I
I
like
Mhm.
the
just
first It movie. I'm not crazy about
well,
the
the
second one.
second one it was entertaining, but
It's
that's a different
fine.
story.
It's a fine movie, just like The Flash is a fine
Well, I'll take
movie.
It Chapter 2 over Flash, in my opinion.
Take what? It chapter 2? Oh, 100%. Yes.
I just felt like the Flash. It just felt like a big CGI like hodgepodge like superhero
Yes.
movie, and I loved seeing like Michael Keaton in there, like absolutely. But like he just felt like he was just there, and he was awesome in the
Oh
movie.
yeah.
He
And
was,
they completely waste Kara too. Like it feels just like um
well, then
a
I didn't feel like
hodgepodge
they
of a movie.
waste.
Like it's
I didn't feel
structurally
like
it's so convoluted. Like it's just all over the map. Like they
yeah,
set up things that they never pay off, and then it's just like the whole third act, which makes sense for the story, is not the story they were building toward. It's weird. It's a weird movie.
yeah, like I didn't feel like they waste Michael Keaton's Batman in that movie. Like he was great. I freaking loved every moment Michael Keaton was on screen. It was
It's the best part of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we take that compared to like say like No Way Home. Yeah, did them getting to the multiverse stuff feel a little bit contrived?
Hmm.
Yeah, but like there was a purpose to it. Um, Mysterio outed Peter Parker, and
Sure.
Peter Parker wanted to reverse that.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then in doing that, we get all the villains from the
Hmm.
other movies, and we get
Hmm.
the two Spider-Mans from the other movies.
Hmm.
It made sense. They gave us these other characters, but
Hmm.
also there was a purpose to it.
Mhm.
It felt like
Hmm.
with the Flash, they were like, "Oh, hey, everybody likes Michael Keaton and everybody likes nostalgia. Let's write a whole movie where we bring back Michael Keaton as Batman." And again, like I said, I'm not complaining about Michael Keaton being in the movie. It's just how I got there, which is so contrived. Like it made no. I don't know. It
Oh
was,
yeah. I mean, you're right though. I mean, it is just member berries.
yeah,
It's
it just
just
felt,
like, hey,
Yeah,
remember this?
anytime where
You
that's the
like this?
driving creative force,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get a great product out of
Right.
it.
You're just kind of like, eh. But
mm,
and at this point, I would have just have rather watched a Michael Keaton, like a 71-year-old Michael Keaton Batman movie.
mm,
I would have paid real good money to go see that. But
yeah. We almost got that with Batwoman or Batgirl, and then that never happened.
oh yeah, I hear that was like a mess though. The
Such
Well,
a
movie
it's
itself.
literally
weird
accept the law,
thing.
accept
Yeah.
your loss. Just accept it.
It's gone. It's erased from existence. They'll never release it yet. I mean, they probably will at some point, but
Yeah.
mm-mm-mm. Yeah, The Flash. Ugh, it's fine. Don't
Okay.
rush out to see it.
Can we talk about a good spot a good superhero movie with Across the Spider Verse?
Um, sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you see it?
can I play devil's advocate real quick? I did watch it today. I went and saw it this
Okay.
morning. So it is fresh in my mind. I think it's really good and a lot of fun. I don't think it's as good as the first one. I think the
Oh,
first one's a lot better.
I thought it was way better than the first one. I think they took whatever you liked in the first one with the different Spider-Mans and then playing
Hmm.
off the Spider-Man motif and then,
Hmm.
doing all the references and all the humor and the different
Yeah,
stuff.
no, I think all that stuff's still there. Yeah,
Yeah, they did took
but
it to infinity and beyond. So I don't know
sure.
what the hell they're gonna do in the next one. Because
Yeah,
like
I mean,
I'm pretty fulfilled with this one as far as that aspect of the movie goes.
right. And that's kind of like my biggest complaint about it is that it feels overstuffed. Like there's just too much going on.
But that's
Like
what I like
basically,
about it.
like Gwen's and Miles's storylines are almost the exact same, which is just sort of like an LGBT like allegory. Like
Oh,
basically,
I
like
disagree
coming
with
out
you.
to
I
your
thought it was
parents.
great.
No, I loved it. I loved it, but it wasn't like. But they're the same story, and then like they're the villain. Like they never set up the villain just disappears halfway through the movie. It's It's
I have a
just
feeling
so much in
I
there.
agree with you with him disappearing, and it felt weird now
Hmm.
that you brought that up. But I
Yeah,
thought it was interesting how they took it like a goofy, obscure
loved it.
Spider-Man.
Loved his performance. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Jason Schwartzman. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well, the
the
whole
it's the
time I was
kid
trying
from
to figure out
Rushmore.
who the hell that was, and then I saw the credits. I'm like, oh, of course, it's Jason Schwartzman.
Right. Right. No, I mean, there. I feel like I'm dogging it, but I'm not dogging it. I loved it. It was great. It was so much better than The Flash. I'd watch this any day of the week,
Yeah.
over that movie. But like, I didn't love it as much as I loved the first. The first one I think is like close to perfect, as you can get with like a
Yeah,
superhero movie made in the
agreed.
multiverse. But this one is good. It's very good, and it's a great follow-up. It's just not as good to me. And
Yeah.
I could nitpick it all day, but it's
Mm.
mostly apples to oranges, and it's mostly things that you might like that I didn't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing, and I'll let you talk about it,
Sure.
Jackson. Um, the one thing that like really threw me off was like, and when I was talking about why it was infinitely better than the first one, was
Mm,
like, yeah, they did different like styles for the different universes in the first one. It was the
hmm
same animation kind of thing. This one,
Hmm.
when Gwen Stacy is fighting Bolster in a style of a Renaissance sketch, like you
Yeah.
can actually do it like that. Or
Yeah.
like Spider Punk, Hubie Brown is in the style of like a punk rock magazine
Yeah.
or comic book.
Yeah.
So they really go, they really delve deep into like the different animation styles.
Oh yeah. No, all that
Hmm.
looks great. Like all that visual language is amazing in it. Like the scene where Gwen finally talks to her dad after she's left for a very long time and comes back. And it's this watercolor that midway through the scene
Yeah,
starts to like melt, like
Yeah.
run down. It's
yeah.
really good. It's
It made
like
more
really good.
you're not distracted by like furniture or pictures or whatever in the background.
Hmm.
But then sometimes it's hyper stylized. So even within that same scene, then you'll cut back to a close up of the dad, and he's got these like triangle tries that are like these pulsating orbs
Right.
coming out of his head too. Sometimes there's just a lot of choices that I was like, that's a choice someone made, and I can't fault them for it. But at the same time, I was like, that is a choice, and I
Yeah,
don't think I
Yeah.
would have made the choice.
yeah, and I thought the music was way better in this one too. And I
The
didn't
music was
realize
great too.
that composer Daniel, what's his name? It's like he's
Hmm.
really prolific. Like he did like the Steve Jobs movie,
Hmm.
which is great.
And just the soundtrack alone's great.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for
Much
sure.
like the first one. Not I'm talking the score, but just like the soundtrack's great as well. Like
Yeah,
which is hard for like contemporary music
yeah,
because usually it just comes off sounding like the great top 10 radio, you know what I mean? It
mm,
doesn't feel like it feels like it's like stuffed into a movie versus like being a part of the movie, which felt very organic to this one.
right, for sure.
But I
Yeah.
don't know, I liked it.
All right, Jackson, I'll let you go. What are your thoughts on this movie?
Sorry.
Hmm.
Sorry.
I think there's somewhere in between y'all's thoughts.
Okay.
Because I did really like this movie from an aesthetic viewpoint way more than the first movie. And the first movie's
Mm,
terrific in that way.
yeah.
But yes, I love all those crazy out there choices that they make for this movie. It makes it just so breathtaking to watch. If I have a gripe against the movie, and I'm not even going to say it's a gripe because as we learned at the end of this movie, this is only part one
Mm,
Right.
of a two-part story. I feel like the story sort of started to lose me somewhere in the middle of the movie, and
Mm,
I never quite got back on track with it. I feel like I need to watch it again to pick
mm,
up on all the little stuff that's going on. I basically understand the idea of it, but uh, I just never quite, I just never was quite gelling with it. Whereas the first movie, uh, even though it's a pretty outlandish story, it's pretty easy to understand the emotional core of it.
yeah.
This one is dealing with a much more complex idea
right.
Hmm.
about like fate and I don't know predestination and
Right.
and then it gets all meta. It's about canon events.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I
it's
I'm
like
in the same boat.
if you change this event in canon and but like do these characters I guess they know they're in a comic book. I mean, I guess that's been evident from the first movie because you always see their comic book
Comic
covers and
books,
stuff like
right?
that. So
But then at
yeah,
the same
this
time, yeah, like how is this all happening within like time? I guess if time is fluid, shouldn't they've already gone through
yeah.
these if they're Spider-Mans? And then it's just like there's just so much of it. If you think about it
Right.
too hard, you're just kind of like, does all this line up? Sorry, I cut you off, but
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Like I don't know that I have that much else to say about it. I really did enjoy it.
yeah,
But I think I need to watch it again, knowing this time what I'm getting myself into, so
Mhm.
I can sort of readjust my brain and get on the movie's
sure,
wavelength a little better.
sure, sure,
Because
sure,
I
sure.
didn't grow up reading comic
Mhm.
books.
Mm-hmm.
So this sort of storytelling is not it it's almost not movie style storytelling.
Right.
It's comic book style storytelling.
For sure,
And
for sure.
I'm okay with that. I just wasn't quite on the movie's wavelength. What I will say is I really enjoyed the moment in the theater. I was in a crowded theater when it gets to the end and it was like to be continued.
Yeah,
Everybody in my theater lost
What?
it. Like
yeah,
people
yeah,
were
yeah.
standing up and yelling at the screen and they just could not believe it, which is for me, I pay attention to like marketing and movie news and stuff like that. So
Sure.
I knew that there was going to be a third one that I think is supposed to come out next year
I
Yeah,
because it
don't.
early
was
next year.
originally
Yeah.
this was Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 and then there was going to be Part 2 and then they changed it to Across and Beyond. So I knew it was going to have a I didn't know it was going to be quite that stark of a cliffhanger, but it
Right.
didn't
Right,
surprise me at the same
right.
time. But
Yeah.
it sure didn't surprise the rest of my theater.
Oh yeah, no, everyone I saw it in theater with was very surprised by it this
Yeah, I
morning.
remember there was a
Which was
guy like
weird.
right behind me. Like as soon as it was over, the guy was like, "Whoa, what the
Yeah,
heck?" And
yeah,
there
yeah.
were
Yeah.
kids too. Like this is a
Oh
thing
yeah,
that kids are gonna go see with their parents.
Yeah.
yeah. Structurally, this movie just kind of throws me for a loop, and I think you're right, Jack. I just think I need to watch it again. But it
Uh-huh.
feels like the inciting instant doesn't happen for like an hour into the movie. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
It goes on for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
when I
is
Because it's a
saw it,
weird.
long
And
movie
I
for
didn't
yeah,
especially
think
it's
for an
like
too
animated
much.
film. It's long. It's like 2 hours and
like
20 minutes or something.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
and that's what I liked about it. It was just so unconventional.
Yeah.
It
You know
never,
what? That's fair. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that.
I love the part when Miles Spider-Man is talking to his dad, but of course the dad doesn't know that he's Spider-Man or that his
Hmm.
son is
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and he says, I can see, a man of your generation can't recognize that people need mental health. And then he was talking
Hmm.
about like about Miles, and he said, "Well, I think you need to lay out the kids." And he was about to say ass, and he gets cut off. I thought that was
I
like,
thought he
Yeah.
said it. I thought he said it altogether.
I know.
See,
I think he was about to say. I think he said like half.
eh, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fair. It was
But yeah,
fun. It was
you're
a lot of
right.
fun.
The inciting incident isn't until a long ways into the movie. And I
Yeah,
didn't even think about it that way. But yeah, I remember when I was watching it, I was like, and then it finally gets to that, and the
yeah.
plot takes a whole different direction. I'm like, oh,
Right.
this is the story we're
This is the
doing.
movie it's going. Yeah, because they spent a lot of
Yeah.
time building up Miles and his family,
Yeah.
which I think is all very nice. But at the same time, they spent a lot of time on it after a while, and you're just
Yeah.
kind of like, where is this going? That's what about midway through. So they grounded him, and then he left. He comes back, and then he has another conversation with his mom. And around that time, I was like, where is this going? Like, like
Yeah.
I think I need to watch it again. I agree, but like, there's
Yeah.
there's some just it's wonderful for anybody who's like on the fence about watching it. Go watch it. It's great.
Yeah. I would definitely
Um,
recommend it for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I just think why I love that movie and why I loved Far From Home or No Way Home,
Mm,
and because I just love Spider-Man. Like, as you know, I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan, but I didn't start loving Batman the way I do now. I mean, I always
hmm.
loved Batman, but not
Sure.
to this level until I started rewatching The Dark Knight over and over again because we were in a different
Mm,
blockbuster, and then eventually bought it.
block
Would watch it all the
blockbuster.
time.
I remember those
Watch
days.
it all the time. That's how I loved. That's how Batman became my favorite superhero because I got
Sure.
positive the character.
Hmm.
Um,
I always loved Spider-Man from when I was a kid because of that '90s animated show. That
Yeah,
'90s, I think it was called Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe it's just called
yeah,
Spider-Man. I don't remember.
Spider-Man. But yeah,
But I watched that. That was good.
but Spider-Man was my first superhero love. Like, he was the first
Hmm.
superhero I ever loved. And I grew up with the Raimi trilogy, and that's how I became the man
Hmm.
I am today.
Yeah.
Sure,
You know, with taking
sure.
responsibility and always being a good person and doing the right thing and self-sacrifice and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's good morals.
Yeah.
Good Miles morals.
Yeah. And I remembered I had a Halloween costume as Spider-Man, and I used to wear it under my clothes all the time. So if I needed to
Nice.
fight like Green Goblin, like Room the Foe's Green Goblin, like I would just have to take my clothes off and I'm Spider-Man.
I went as Batman when I was 5 because but we couldn't afford real costumes. So my mom made a Batman costume, and it was my
Mhm.
favorite costume I've ever had. I wore it until I couldn't wear it anymore,
Yeah.
See, I
which
was a
was
Superman
pretty long.
kid.
Oh, okay.
I was a Superman kid, and I feel like Superman is one of those characters that movies just don't ever do him justice. I feel like there's still maybe
Oh,
James Gunn will, but I mean, even like the Christopher Reeve Superman, I only like half of that movie. I like the
yeah,
first half. I don't like it
yeah.
after he becomes Superman. I like
No.
all the setup, but
No,
I used to
all the
watch
stuff in Kansas is great. Yeah.
when I was a kid, though, me and my mom used to watch together Lois and Clark with Dean
Oh yeah.
Cain and
Yeah. The
Terry
New Adventures of
Hatcher.
Superman. Yeah.
Yeah. And we both really loved that show because it was more of like a comedy take on Superman. Uh,
Sure. And
yeah.
it's like based on it's like Clark Kent. It's like mostly around him with like
Mhm.
a little Superman. If I remember it right.
No,
Isn't
I
it
mean
mostly to do with
he's
him?
Superman a lot. He's Superman a
Oh,
lot, but
okay.
they do fun things with the story. They bring in all these wacky villains, and there's this whole like romantic will they won't they between him and
Mm,
Lois Lane, and
some
it was
moonlighting.
fun to
Yeah.
watch when you're a kid. Yeah, exactly. It had that same
Yeah.
kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
I
like
loved it when I was a kid. I loved that Superman. I loved
Yeah.
Lois and Clark when I
my
was a
favorite
kid too.
Superman would have to be Henry Cavill.
Hmm.
The main
Interesting.
deal because I really related to him because as you guys know, I have Asperger's syndrome.
Hmm.
One of the symptoms is I don't like a lot of overstimulation or a lot of stuff kind of going
Mm-hmm.
on. That part when he's a kid, they flash back to when he's a kid and he's discovering
Yeah.
powers and like all the noises and like
Yeah, that's one of the best scenes of the movie. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, and then like it cuts to him hiding in the closet, and then his mom
Mm-hmm.
comes in to kind of comfort him. That really
Yeah.
hurt me because like that just brought me back memories of when like my mom was trying to figure out what was going on with me with my autism.
Sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
yeah. Most don't like, and honestly, that Man of Steel movie, upon retrospect from the recent DC lot, since then, it looks better and better all the time. Like
yeah.
it's a pretty good
Well,
Yeah.
first movie
that's
for
another
Superman.
superhero movie or comic book movie where his heart is in the movie.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And you can even kind of say the same thing about Justice League. Though, like I'm talking about that Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, compared to Joss
I
Whedon.
feel like I feel like Superman is one of those characters that every adaptation of him gets something right, but
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
never get it all right.
Oh,
Sure.
I feel the same
Like
exact way
there are
about
certain
Batman.
aspects I like from all the different screen versions of Superman, but there's not
Hmm.
one version of Superman that I'm like, that's Superman.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a perfect Superman.
yeah, I
They just
feel
need
the
Yeah.
same.
take them
So
all and mash them into one movie.
Yeah, I feel
you're
the
right.
same. I feel the same exact way with Batman and Spider Man,
Mm.
especially Batman.
Yeah, I can see
Hard to
that.
do because Bruce Wayne has different sides to him. There's the billionaire playboy side. There's
Uh-huh.
the person dealing with trauma side. There's just
Sure.
regular guy who has
Hmm.
relationship with Alfred, and I think Alfred's the only person that knows Bruce that way.
Sure.
Hmm.
But it's
There,
also a father figure to him too. So it's like
yeah,
the surrogate father he never had in
and
some
Yeah.
ways.
there's like the businessman side of Bruce Wayne, and then there's the vigilante side. There's the father figure side to
Sure.
like Barbara Gordon and Batwoman and the very different Robins. So
Sure.
there are all these different sides, and I feel like each one gets one right. So I feel
Sure.
like Patterson and Keaton get the Batman part right, and they're different ways of doing it. They did it different ways. I
Sure.
feel like Kristen Bale got down the being a playboy side, and
Yes.
the man with PTSD side. I haven't
Mhm.
felt like any of them really got the businessman side of it down.
Hmm.
No, I guess not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know.
that's
I mean, but
why.
I think that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I
and
was just
that's
going to say
why.
that. Oh, sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
talking, man.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
I
know
promise
you
I
can
won't
go,
start.
man.
No, I was just. Go ahead. I'm
Okay.
kidding. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Um, Dylan, you want me to go?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Um, that's why I love Kevin Conroy as a character.
Okay.
Because
Hmm.
it's a series. You have different episodes, and then he does
Hmm.
different versions of it throughout, video games and different,
Uh-huh.
Animated movies. And so you can actually really explore different sides of it. And I think he got it completely right, even though he just voiced.
Sure.
Mhm.
No, I mean it's that, and that's the beauty of like being able to do it for like a television series, like over like
Yeah.
multiple episodes, like all these characters, and I think that's what makes like good characters and good, interesting screen presences to watch, and is just that they are multifaceted. There are multiple things going on with them, and if you can get
Mhm.
all of them right, then you've made something immortal. You've made something for the ages, and
Yeah.
I think we're all still striving for that. But I think that's back to what you're saying is like the Kevin Conroy stuff is like he had 23 episodes to kind of build in and out
Oh,
that
more than that.
performance of like seeing it. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But like that's just one season,
Hmm.
and that's
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
12 hours, and so like Ben Affleck gets like 2.5, you know what I mean? Like Christian Bale gets like
Yeah.
maybe 3, like you only do so much, and also like setting up villains and all this other stuff. Like you lose so much
Yeah.
screen time just trying to do all of it in one. So I don't fault any of them for it. I just wish that maybe some of these are better suited for like television, for like long form storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so here's my thing. I know, everybody has like their Batman, and I
Sure.
know mine is definitely Kevin Conroy because I grew up with that series.
Mhm.
I didn't watch it. I'm a little bit too young. I wasn't around when it first came out, but watching reruns. So
Sure.
he's my Batman. I'm assuming,
Hmm.
Eric, that Michael Keaton is your Batman.
It's Kevin Conroy or Michael Keaton. I mean, it's basically the two. So I grew up watching the Batman animated series on TV when it came out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm that old. I also saw Batman '89 in theaters when I was like 4. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm assuming my mom's Batman would be Adam West because he watched
mhm.
reruns. What would you say? Who would you say is your Batman, Jackson?
Well, I used to watch the animated series when I was a kid, but I haven't watched it like as an adult, really. I've seen
Mhm.
an episode here and there. Um, so the first, I mean, when I was like 12, I really liked Batman Forever,
Hmm.
but it wasn't until you got to Batman Begins that
Right.
I really
Hmm.
latched on to Batman fully as a
Sure.
character. So
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
Christian
I'll be right back.
Bale is my
Yeah,
Batman.
I feel like Batman Forever. And I love that movie because I was a huge Jim Carrey fan as a kid. I feel like that was the first Batman movie, live action movie, where Bruce Wayne blamed himself for his parents' death because he went
Hmm.
because well that was in the
Okay.
situation where they went to a play that was scary to him.
Yeah.
Batman Begins, but it was very much. I think you have to look really closely in the flashbacks when he's looking at the journal. But he's basically, I think, implying that he basically begged his mom and dad to go take him to go see the movies.
Hmm.
So they
Okay.
Also, too, I mean, Forever is also the one that really plays on that fear too, and like really heightens it more than any of the other ones, I
Yeah, the
think.
shots where like the bat is flying in silhouette like towards him, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that movie, but I think Batman.
Batman and Robin's trash. It's hot garbage.
Well,
But Forever's pretty good. I mean, it's weird. It's a
It's
weird
silly,
movie
but yeah.
and silly, but yeah, and the cinematography is wild in some ways.
Yeah.
Because it's just like high key, low key lighting. It's nuts looking. But
I love Batman and Robin. That's my biggest guilty pleasure because it's Batman. You got you got Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Oh my gosh.
You got,
wait,
So
just
silly.
wait. Tell me more. What do you love about Batman and Robin?
I'm not no, I love it. I love how bad it is. I love how cheesy it is. And you
Okay, all right.
on
Fair
several
enough.
You got
on
the
several,
nipples on the bat suit.
well, on
He's got a
several
bat card. He's got a bat Mastercard in it.
well, on several
Which
occasions.
have you
He's got all
noticed the
those-
expiration date on the back card?
What
It
is it?
expires forever.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But no, I love but no, I love how Joel Schumacher just embraces the Adam Westness of it. And I do not think
Yeah.
George Clooney is the worst Batman. Because he really,
He's-
again, going back to the Adam West thing, he embraces that kind of hokiness. That kind of
Who
like
do you think is the
yeah.
worst Batman?
that that kind of not stoicism, but like that kind of Adam West charm.
Sure. No, they're in on the joke. They're playing it where they're in on the joke, basically. We're it's a little silly. We know we're like costume superheroes. We're fighting a guy with a big ice gun who's saying
Yeah.
like quippy one-liners. Freeze.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Yeah, so yeah, I just didn't have a I did not have a I did not have a problem with him fully embracing that whole
That's
thing.
fine.
Yeah,
That's
and
fine.
he should have never apologized for making that move ever. Because that move, yeah, he made Joel Schumacher made the movie that he wanted to make. Just get off his
He
case.
sure did. He
That's
sure
fine.
did.
He sure did. And you know what? I would make the argument that Forever is a wonderful guilty pleasure. And I cannot say the same about Batman and Robin, but if you love it, then it's your guilty pleasure. That's all that matters.
I know.
I could watch Batman Forever right now. I would have a much harder time watching Batman and Robin.
I tried watching it like 6 months ago and it was
Yeah.
rough. I made it about 30 minutes in. I was like, I don't know if I can keep going.
Yeah, and that's of course that's just your opinion, man.
No, sure. No, of course. Yeah, it's 100% my opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Room really tied the rug together.
But now, like I said, there's a lot of this stuff like Arnold making the ice puns and Clooney, sliding down like the dinosaur tail at the beginning, and all this other stuff.
Just Uma Thurman, just like overstuffed with characters and
it
just
really felt
stuff.
like out of the '60s series, and that's what I love about it. Joel Schumacher just fully embraced it.
That's fine. I will say I do love that Adam West Batman movie, the one that they made after the TV show, with like the shark bombs and all that sort of stuff. It's hilarious. It's great. I do love
a
that
really fun movie. It's fun.
Yeah. See, I'll take
real
Batman,
silly
I'll
and
take
amazing.
Batman and Robin over any of the stuff from the '60s.
I don't know.
That's just my opinion.
Do y'all watch the Harley Quinn show on
Oh, hey, can I
Max?
just say one more thing about Batman and Robin real quick?
Okay.
Sure.
I'll tell you what's worse than Batman and Robin the movie. The song and music video that came out of this, Gotham City by R. Kelly. Because
I
Gotham,
don't remember that song.
it's called Gotham City for a reason. Because it's disgusting. There's crime and R. Kelly's thinking about like how peaceful and how great Gotham City is. Like, no. Like, I don't wanna freaking live in Gotham City. Like, it's like as a joke, you can literally put that song and intercut it with scenes from Matt Reeves' The Batman. It would be hilarious. Such a contradiction. And he had the music video of him like riding his chopper, I guess around Las Vegas, maybe.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, it honestly felt like a vacation commercial, like a commercial for a vacation.
It's
Like,
no Kiss from a Rose. That's all I can say.
I mean, Batman Forever, that soundtrack has bangers on it.
yeah.
Front to back, it's got Smashing Pumpkins and U2 and Seal, and yeah, no, that soundtrack rules.
Yeah.
They tried to do it again. They just got a guy who's a terrible sex criminal to do their song for their movie.
I love Batman Forever. I'm not saying that I don't like Batman Forever. I'm just saying I get more enjoyment out of Batman and Robin because of how bad and how cheesy it is.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's completely fair.
I wouldn't even say it's top 5 worst comic book movie. It's definitely in the top 10 for sure. But like you have like I don't know, Halle Berry Catwoman, that's way worse.
Well, that's
pretty unwatchable to me.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad comic book movies. There's a lot of bad movies too. There's
Jonah
just a lot of bad
movies. Ghost Rider.
Ooh, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance is even worse than the first one.
I think that one's better.
You think it's better? Oh, I do.
I think it's better because at least that one has the courage to be completely like insane.
That's true. It is the guys who made Crank, isn't it?
Exactly, and it has that same style. The first one though is just very, considering how crazy the subject matter is, the movie itself is very stodgy.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of people and it's like Nicolas Cage isn't even doing anything interesting, and that's a high bar to clear. Where you can't even make Nicolas Cage interesting. At least in the second one, he does some of his more Nicolas Cage type things. Yeah. Where he just starts to lose his mind on his face. And so I like that one better. And it's also like half an hour shorter than the first one.
That is a benefit. That is a benefit. You're right about that.
Here's my question.
Green Lantern.
I want to go
that one's bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I want to go around the room and I want to ask you guys, what is your favorite comic book movie? So I'll go with you, Eric. What's your favorite? Or some of them.
Man, that's on the spot. I would say favorite off the top of my head. I mean, probably Spider-Man 2.
Ooh.
But that's just off the top of my head. If I thought about it more, I'd probably say something completely different. So I don't know.
I'm probably gonna go Logan. Like, I mean, okay.
That was really good.
Logan is good.
Tactically, because one is tied between Batman Begins and Dark Knight. I just love what Nolan did with that, and then Spider-Man 2 would be my number 2. I just have a vivid memory of my dad. He lived in Wisconsin. He took me to the drive-in theater to go see Spider-Man 2.
Nice.
Yeah, which was awesome. But the one I want to highlight is Logan. Logan. You want to talk about an emotional movie? Like, I almost feel like in a way Logan broke me more than like Guardians 3.
Because I will say I like the first 2 hours of Logan. I think up until Xavier dies, it's a great movie. Oh, and then it goes on for another 30 minutes. I totally
disagree with you. I think the whole movie we disagree a lot. I noticed.
That's okay. That's okay. I think it's like 30 minutes too long, but that's fine. You can if people love that movie, and I love it too. Don't get me wrong. And I just think that by the time they build to that catharsis when Xavier dies, they can't quite get there again emotionally for the movie. But that's just for me.
I feel like the reason why it ranked more than Guardians 3 was, of course, Hugh Jackman played Wolverine longer than Bradley Cooper played Rocket Raccoon. And I basically grew up with Hugh Jackman as that character.
Yeah. True.
And as much as I am excited to see him in Deadpool 3, I just think it's gonna kind of cheapen it a bit, just a little bit, in a way.
Should have just died and went away. Yeah.
Yeah. Because apparently this is in a different universe.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it is. Yeah.
No,
And
no,
that's
no, I'm pretty sure he said he wasn't. It's the same.
I mean, I think that Logan takes place out. Well, the continuity of the Fox X-Men series is practically non-existent anyway.
right.
But Logan definitely takes place in an alternate version, even of that. So,
Yeah, it's like a near future too. Like there's all those like self-driving
Yeah.
tanker trucks that are on the roads and everything.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it could be before any of that even happens, which is I
Yeah.
assume where they're going to go with it. But this is also the problems with the multiverse is that you can just kill characters and just bring them back at a
bring them
whim
back.
and go like,
Yeah.
they're back now because it's multiverse, you know? This
Well,
is Earth 91.
well, the thing is, I was because you know how like in Multiverse of Madness, the Doctor Strange movie, how
Mhm.
it's the X-Men animated series, Professor X.
Mhm.
I was hoping it was going to be the same thing with Wolverine, and it could, I guess, still be that way.
Could still be that, yeah.
That'd be so cool. How would you love to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the classic yellow and blue costume?
I
So
wouldn't be surprised if they do it.
Yeah. Just even as a joke at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So Jackson, what is your favorite comic book movie?
Oh, I don't know.
I know. Yeah. I mean, if I sat and thought about it too long, I would come up with like a list of 5 and say I can't choose
I
between
mean,
any
you
of
always
these.
say Hellboy too. You like that movie?
I mean, that
Hellboy
one's
2 is
way
really
up
great.
there. That one is definitely in the top 5.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say top 5.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just do Hellboy 2. Let's stay away from the MCU of it all.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wouldn't say
or the Nolan
say
Batmans.
it's
Let's
top
just go with
5 for
Hellboy 2.
me. It's definitely top 10 for sure. Like a high top 10, like 6, 7.
Yeah.
I was always hoping that Guillermo del Toro would be able to go back and make a third Hellboy,
Oh, that's
but I don't think
so
it'll ever
angering
happen.
that they made the stupid reboot instead.
Yeah.
I do love Jason Harper, and I do like his Hellboy, but it is just a mess of a movie.
He would have been a great Hellboy if he had been in a good Hellboy movie.
Yeah, yeah. And I like the director. The director made like Dog Soldiers like back in the
He's made some
day,
good
and
stuff,
like The
yeah.
Descent, but he also made some trash. And so like,
Yeah, and I haven't even watched the movie, but I've seen clips of it, and I love David Herbert. He just seems to me, the clips I've seen, a little bit too sarcastic and too much of an asshole, and the whole movie just seemed like just too harsh and too cruel to me. Where Del Toro, what there was quirkiness to it, but it felt there's a lot of heart behind it. There's a lot of like behind everything.
Which is, I think, what Del Toro brings to it, and Ron Perlman for that matter.
Yeah, Perlman's playing Hellboy as kind of an everyman, even though he's definitely not an everyman. But that's how he's playing him. He's just like this blue collar guy who doesn't like his job, but he's not tortured about it. He just wants to stay at home and play with his cats and
drink his beer. Yeah, that's all he wants to do. Yeah,
that's all he wants to do. That's all we all want to do.
Well,
but he keeps getting called out to chase these monsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that like you have a hellspawn and then a fish creature singing fucking Barry Manilow.
Yeah.
That's like the most touching scene in the whole movie.
It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that movie. I cannot get that song stuck out of my head after I watched that for our I can't smile without you. Can't smile without you.
Keep going. No one's stopping you.
Well, then, like me and my mom got on a Barry Manilow kick one day, and I put that scene on YouTube, and like I remember she was watching a bit of the movie with me, when I was watching it for the review, and like she started laughing at certain parts during that moment. It's just so funny. The fact that like Sapien is like completely denying his love for like this elf lady.
Yeah. Sure.
And he's like talking about how beautiful she is and all this other stuff. And then like Hellboy is like, "Oh, you're in love. Have a beer." Like that made my mom chuckle. Like,
it's the one, and that's what the wonderful thing that Guillermo del Toro does very well is like mirror this sort of like absurd idea with something that's kind of grounded and
Mhm.
relatable in a weird way. Like all of his movies kind of do that, especially the more fantastical ones. So like Pan's Labyrinth or
Yeah.
Shape of Water or Hellboy or
Oh
any of
yeah.
those. Just like taking this idea that is bigger than anything you can imagine, something that I guess just he can imagine, and then just
Yeah.
making it palpable for you to like have an emotional connection to it. I don't know of any other like director who can do that on like such an extreme scale between like reality and non-reality. It's
Yeah.
good. He's great.
So
Still haven't seen Pinocchio.
yeah.
I need
Oh,
to.
Tokyo is great. It was in my top 5 for the
I
year.
enjoyed it.
I
Yeah.
hear it's good. I hear it's good.
As good as Fablemans.
Mm,
I'm always gonna bring
mm.
that up, Eric,
It's
because
fine.
you don't like that movie as much as I do.
You know what? I love that you love it. I love that you love it. And you know what? I'm gonna watch it again someday, and I may go like, you know what? Drew was right.
Like
Or I
like
may
I
watch
said,
it again and go like, ah, it's trash. I
like
don't
like
know.
I said, Eric,
You never know.
like I said, your parents aren't divorced, so like it didn't hit
That's true. That's true too.
me.
I
But
also really
also,
love the Fablemans, and my parents aren't divorced,
Yeah,
but I really loved the movie.
yeah. That ending
that's fair.
scene, like it just like the whole music at during the end when it's kind of like sort of like mysterious, and
Hmm.
because this kid's happy that he met his favorite director or one of his favorite directors,
Hmm.
John Ford. And
Hmm.
then like it did that happy movie that and it the sunset like a John Ford
I'm gonna be
movie.
honest. I
No,
mean, yeah,
let
and
me
I
let
would
me
say that it's
let
a
me finish
wonderful
it. Hey,
scene.
Eric, let me finish. Let me
It
finish.
would be okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then like he walked off in the sunset like a John Ford movie. And then
Hmm.
like the camera adjusts for the horizon because of the whole conversation beforehand.
Hmm.
And then like the music continues and you get that really like upbeat kind of music
Hmm.
like piano music, and then
Hmm.
like it does like a suite of like all the other different pieces of music in the movie, and then it did like the main theme, the do 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 do, and every time I hear that like I start tearing up because it's like hearing that Bruce Springsteen song that was at the end of
Sure.
Guardians 3. It's like it just brings up so many memories of
Right.
the characters. So when I hear the Fablemans thing, it just brings up a lot of moments from that movie.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I love that you love it. To me, I think that end scene is amazing, and it's a wonderful thing that is almost devoid from the rest of the movie.
Mhm.
Like, if you don't know who Spielberg is, the end of that movie is super anticlimactic
Mhm.
in some ways. Because it ends, and he walks off, and you're like, oh, we know
Right.
that's Spielberg's surrogate, and so he's going to be okay. But if you don't know that, then it's just like
Right.
it ends. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, literally, that piece of music on the score is literally called "The Journey Begins."
Yeah. And now he's off on his journey. Great. Now the movie should begin, and we shouldn't have wasted our other 2.5 hours.
No,
Well,
but
maybe in a few years they'll make a sequel where we get to see Spielberg struggling through the making of Jaws.
oh god,
F2.
yeah.
They call it
The fact that
F2.
that man
Judgment Day.
that the fact that man did not get nominated for that movie is complete and utter bullshit.
Oh,
Because
for Jaws.
I read
Yeah.
the I've seen several documentaries about that movie.
Yeah.
I read the book, Memories from Martha's Vineyard. He went through so much hell for that movie.
Yeah.
Sure. But I
It
mean, but
started to
everyone, no
sorry.
one's gonna know when you watch a movie, no one's gonna know the struggles you go through to make it. They're only gonna see the movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But
The sword didn't work. He
oh
was
yeah.
dealing with a lot of locals through this movie. Um, Martha's Vineyard just dealt with a controversy when this movie came out. I don't know if you guys know
Sure.
about that.
What was the controversy?
So what happened was, one of the Kennedys was at
Oh,
Martha's.
it's that.
I'll explain.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, that thing that happened during
that
that.
happened there?
Oh, okay.
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So I'll explain it to my audience. So I can't remember what Kennedy it was, but there
It
were.
was Ted.
I
It's
think
dead. Yeah.
okay. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just let me finish the story. Um. So it was one of the Kennedys. He was at a party, and he offered to drive some woman home or back to her hotel. he accidentally drove off a bridge.
Yes.
He swam away, and he basically blamed for the whole thing.
Yes.
Um,
Plot point 2 of Succession season 2.
yeah, so there was whole media coverage, and basically the locals at Martha's Vineyard didn't like the
Mhm.
fact that there was a whole film crew there filming this movie.
Right. After all that happened, yeah. I will say, I think the argument can be made that the movie is better because the shark didn't work.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
Oh
that
yeah.
and that
Oh,
they just
yeah,
had
you know
to
something, Eric?
what? I know.
Yeah,
They had to hide it for so long, but then it also just gave them time to play with all those scenes that didn't involve the shark, like all the stuff that the character work that they got to do, which was nice. All
yeah.
this stuff, and honestly, the character work is what carries the movie for me.
Oh yeah.
What about the subway scene from American Werewolf in London? You don't see the werewolf at all.
Sure.
Yeah, I hope you
You really
realize
don't even see the
this is
werewolf until like
like
midway through that movie.
know that.
Hmm?
No.
No, I love
Oh,
the part.
like,
Oh. I love the
go
part
ahead.
in that scene when like the British dude is hearing the werewolf growl, and he goes, "Hope you realize this isn't the slight bit amusing." Like it's so British.
Mhm.
Uber British.
Yeah, mega British. But anyways, guys, like get out of movies real quick. Have you read any good books recently?
I did read a audiobook. I haven't actually read a book in a
That
long time.
counts.
Uh, but I really got an audio Audible during the pandemic, and I listened to the making of Mad Max. I forget what it's called off the
Which
top of my
Ah,
one?
head, but
okay.
they made
The
it was the
first Mad
making of
Max?
Fury. No, the making of Fury Road, which is
Oh,
a wild ride.
yeah, I
And I would
know.
recommend it. It sort of deep dives on George Miller for the first few
Mhm.
chapters, and then it really goes into all the struggles they had to make Fury Road from like the 15 years when they first started to make the movie
Hmm.
up through actually shooting it in the Namibia Desert, and then all the problems with that, and then like basically the two stars hating each other on set, and then like not being able to like communicate. Like it was all number of things. It was a great listen for me, but if you
Right.
like reading, give it a read.
Awesome. Where are you, Jackson?
So I guess the last thing I finished, I've got several things in my queue that I'm looking at right now that I need to get back to. Um, last one I finished was probably As You Wish by Carrie Elwes, which is
Mhm.
like an oral history of the making of The Princess Bride.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really interesting. Like some of the other cast and crew members, they have little parts that they contribute to it, and you get a lot of fun stories about like Andre the Giant and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a very slight read, but it's easy and breezy. I've also got lined up. I'm gonna try to read the book Disney War,
Hmm.
which is about the studio's struggles in the 80s in particular with like Michael Eisner and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's one of
Well,
the next ones on my queue. So
You ever read
uh,
Slug Wars about the rivalry between Marvel and DC?
mm-mm.
no.
Yeah, that one's really interesting because it's almost like Disney and DreamWorks when Katzenberg transferred over, where they're trying to like
Okay.
one up each other and trying to do similar things. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
one of the ones was they're saying that like oh, what's that HBO Max show? The DC one with Brendan Fraser, Doom Patrol.
Oh, the Doom Patrol. Yeah.
Yeah, they were
Mm.
saying that like Doom Patrol is very similar to X-Men because it's like these misfits characters,
Yeah.
and then their leader
Yeah.
like a British dude in a wheelchair. So it was
Uh
really
huh.
interesting to see like how they would went up each other. Where like DC is more kind of like these characters are Greek gods. They're something to be
Yeah.
aspired to. Where like if you look at the main lineup for like Marvel, like these are unconventional characters.
Hmm.
This is a team of superheroes, the Fantastic Four, when it's a rock creature, a fire guy, a stretchy guy, and an invisible woman do not get along with each other, and they don't have any secret identities. It's a
Yeah.
teenager who's a dork, is a drunk alcoholic billionaire playboy who's a warmonger.
Bless you.
It's a scientist who turns into a green monster. It's a war
Yeah.
veteran who gets unfrozen.
Yeah.
Like, it's a blind, Catholic guy, daredevil.
Lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, lawyer. Yeah, it's crazy. These are unconventional heroes, essentially.
What was the name of that book?
Slug Wars.
Slug Wars.
Cool.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
If you like that kind of stuff, I don't know if you've ever heard the podcast Business Wars.
Ooh.
It's really interesting. Like every season they do a different rivalry. And it's all different types of businesses. But they have one, like there's a season where they do WWE versus WCW. They did one that was like Pixar versus DreamWorks. They did one about all the different dating apps, like Tinder versus Bumble versus
I'm listening
Hinge.
to that. That's awesome.
They do stuff about car companies and all different kinds, like food brands. It's a really fun, well-produced podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing I read was Jurassic Park because I wanted to read it for the 30th anniversary of the movie.
This is first time through, or like have you read it before?
Second time through.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I really liked it the second time through. I definitely like the movie more just because the concept with Spielberg's touch on it. I can't believe that you didn't put that in your top 10, Eric. Come on, what the hell's the matter with it?
It's like circling around. I mean, and honestly, those change like every year too. So like, you could have asked me like 6 months from now, I've been like Jurassic Park's #1. Obviously, actually, it would never be #1. It would probably be like maybe like top 10 probably. But I do love Jurassic Park, but it's like a number 11, 12 for me. It's not like to me, it's not Jaws, but it's trying to be Jaws. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but yeah, I think some of the stuff I didn't like about it. I'll give you that first, and I'll say some stuff I did like about it.
Sure.
I didn't like how Hammett was a complete piece of shit in that book. Because he kind of was in the movie, but like there was like a grandfatherly feel to it.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's Richard. You're talking about Richard Attenborough. Or you're talking about wait, who are you talking about?
Hammett.
Oh yeah. You're talking about yeah. He already just exudes just like goofy grandfather, like Santa Claus looking,
Yeah. And then I didn't like how Alan Grant liked the two kids right off the bat. I like the build up to it.
Sure.
And then plus you had the whole, father figure bonding kind of thing.
Sure. I mean, yeah, if they hadn't had that, then we would have had Grant would have had no arc in the movie. You know what I mean? Like it would have just been like an escape, like make sure he gets out of there at that point.
Yeah. And the last thing I did not like the fact that Lexi would basically reduce down to the fact that she was hungry the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah. That was literally her character.
Sometimes movies are better than books, and sometimes books are better than movies.
Yeah,
and
but
sometimes they're the different things.
Yeah, something I did like more in the movie or in the book was that there were some set pieces, particularly one that involved this big kind of like dome with all these flying dinosaurs, and I think this was sort of similar to what they did in the first Jurassic World. And that was fun to read. There's a part in the river which was a lot of fun to read. I mean, I love the movie as it is, but
sure,
that would have been really cool to see some of those scenes.
Yeah, but I mean, you got 2 hours. You gotta. It's not like today. Like back then, they were like 2 hours tops. Like you go over 2 hours, and it's too much. You can't fit that many movies into the theater at that point, and then it's all about money. But now they're like make a 2.5 hour movie every day.
Yeah, and then yeah. Well, then I liked how they got deeper into about the business side of Jurassic Park and the scientific side of it. I thought that was kind of interesting. De Niro played a bigger part in the book.
What does?
De Niro, the lawyer.
Oh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he played not like a substantial part, but he's more present
Sure.
in the.
Than he is in this where he just kind of shows up and then gets eaten, basically.
Yeah, we're gonna make a fortune out of this place.
The only
So
one supporting me is the blood-sucking lawyer.
I'm looking at my Steven Spielberg rankings because I was curious where it fell. Jurassic Park is my number 11.
What?
See,
It's
that's
not
right
top
around where it
five?
is on mine too.
No, it's not in the top 5.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my number one is
I love it, but
yeah, my
it's
number one is tied between Fablemans and Jurassic Park for sure.
really. I mean, Jaws was my
Fablemans
favorite
is
one,
my
in
number
honesty.
3.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's well high up there. So my top 10 are Raiders, E.T.,
Mm.
Fablemans,
Oh.
Saving Private Ryan, Jaws, Lincoln,
Mhm.
Schindler's List, Munich, AI, and Close Encounters.
Awesome.
So that's my
Interesting
top
that
10
Lincoln made it
Spielberg.
in there.
I love that
Interesting,
movie.
Lincoln.
Okay, let me
I
pull it
love
Okay.
that movie. Yeah.
We can get it open.
I don't remember mine off the top of my head.
The
I have to
Lincoln,
look it up. But also, I do know.
the way I've heard
Sorry, go ahead.
somebody describe Lincoln is it's like you have a supersized episode of The West Wing where like Josh gets hit on the head and they all wind up back in
Yeah.
Lincoln times.
It kind of
That's
plays
what
that way. It's always.
it plays out like a lot like a West Wing, except
Oh
in
wow.
old timey times. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it very fascinating how Spielberg is kind of transitioning into more of um this more like grounded, mature kind of feel to his movies.
Yeah.
Right, and
I'd say
then
yes and no, but yes,
well,
yeah. I mean, for the
I mean,
most
he
part,
still
he
made
definitely
like he came out with Ready Player
for
One
Player
and
One, yeah,
you
right,
know and
BFG and stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah,
but
I've
not like
never seen the BFG
every
I
actually.
haven't
movie's
either.
not some sci-fi blockbuster movie. Is what I'm saying.
Sure, no, he used to
Yeah.
do the thing in the '90s where he'd double up and do like a sci-fi movie and then a serious drama, sci-fi movie,
Yeah,
serious drama, or like a
Yeah.
big adventure, serious drama.
yeah, and I
And
like how
he still does that, but he just doesn't do as many of like the sci-fi adventure movies anymore.
Well, he just
They're just
doesn't
more
make as
serious
many
drama.
movies as he used to. He takes
That's
his
true too.
time
right.
a lot more these
But
days.
he's
But
also
you know,
70
he
something.
finally
Yeah.
made yeah, exactly. He finally made a musical,
Right.
Yeah. Which
and it was really good.
I haven't seen it yet. I need to watch it.
I
I've
really
been
loved
putting it
it.
off. I heard people
Yeah.
say they really loved it, and I need to
Yeah.
watch it. I
That
just haven't.
one's, I believe, number 12 on my list. It's right behind Jurassic Park. I loved West
Okay.
Side Story. I thought
Right.
it was terrific.
Yeah, but yeah, what I was
So,
gonna say was think it's interesting how now that he's going to more mature kind of feel to his movie, he's going more grounded, like a movie like Munich or like Lincoln or whatever. Like he get now like Tony Kushner's like his guy.
yeah.
Yeah, he's been there. He's been Tony Kushner's guy. Tony Kushner's been his guy for like a minute,
Yeah,
like for like 10 years, like 20 years now almost.
Did
right.
Tony Kushner, what
He
was
wrote
his
Munich,
first
didn't
thing he
he?
did?
Yeah, he wrote
Oh no,
Fableman.
he did Angels in America was a play long
Yeah.
before all that, but
Did
then
he
like
work on, no, Steve Zalian wrote Schindler's List.
Yeah,
yeah, I
But
want to
yeah,
say
Kushner's worked on several Spielberg
yeah.
movies.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
also Fableman is actually one of the few Spielberg directed movies, or just few movies in general that Spielberg actually wrote, has a writing credit.
hmm
Because I
Yeah.
mean, it
He
makes sense.
he's
It's
a
so
written anything in a
personal.
long while. So it's like AI. I think AI was the last thing he wrote
Well,
before this one.
apparently he does a lot of uncredited work on his own movies.
Well, yeah,
He just doesn't take a writing credit, but every once in a while there's one that's super personal to him. Close Encounters was one. That was the first
yes,
one. And then
yeah.
AI, just because he was working from Kubrick's treatment
It's
and he wanted to
unfinished.
make
Yeah,
sure that he did justice to Kubrick's vision because they had talked about
sure.
that movie for so many years.
Yeah,
And then of course Fableman's, that's his
right.
autobiography. So
Yeah. So
I think those, yeah.
Magnum opus.
yeah, I have an observation about Spielberg that I never thought about till after Fablemans, and I'll get to my top 10 after this. If you think about it, every decade besides 2010s has one movie that is personal to him. So 70s is Close Encounters, 80s is E.T., 90s is Schindler's List, 2000s is Catch Me If You Can,
Mm,
And well, I'll explain that here.
Well, 2000s is Munich, I think.
yeah, I think Munich's probably
I
more
think
than
that's a much more personal thing to
Well, I
him
didn't see
than
Munich, so I wouldn't.
Catch
I
Me If You.
wouldn't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Munich is
definitely.
basically Munich is basically Schindler's List as a revenge movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it also has a lot of like overtones of like living in a post 9/11
Mm,
world.
Yes.
yeah,
Because
and
it
then
has to do with terrorism and revenge. Yeah.
yeah, and then of course 2020s is Fablemans. But the reason why I said Catch Me If You
Yeah.
Can because it, it's a divorce movie, and
Yeah, it's a lot of dad stuff.
yeah, and yeah, he had daddy issues.
It's fine.
But yeah,
I can,
I'm
I can
looking, and
relate.
yeah, the 2010s. It doesn't seem like he seemed like he was kind of he wasn't doing his really super personal work during that, based on the list of
I'm
movies.
trying to
Now,
think of what even
the
came out during
2010s
then.
is probably the decade where I've seen the least of his movies because he did like
War
you
Horse.
know, I like that
Um,
one.
I like War Horse. It feels very manipulative when you're watching it. Like watching it the second time, you're just like,
Yeah, but in the best
yeah,
way. I'm a
yeah.
sucker for a bond between human and animal kind of movie.
Yeah.
No, I
So
mean I can't deny it.
yeah,
Definitely
so
openly
let me
weeped
finish
in
my
the theater,
argument
but
about Catch Me If You Can real quick. So if you know anything about Spielberg, he actually used to sneak on to the Universal Studios lot.
Oh yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so very similar to what Frank Abagnale supposedly did. Apparently, he fabricated all of that stuff in his book.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, so that's why I was saying that that's kind of more personal, and even like Griffin on Blank Check, like even made that argument.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And the father, the divorce between parent and his parents
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing too, probably tying back in. But
right.
yeah, I mean, I guess you could make the argument for Catch Me If You Can. I think probably Catch Me If You Can Munich, but yeah, 2010s. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't know of
seeing
anything that was
anything.
in
I
there.
mean, yeah, because in the 2010s he makes what? He makes the 1010 movie. Was that the 2010s or was that
Yeah.
before?
That was
Was that the
2011.
aughts?
It was
Okay,
11,
so
12,
yeah.
something like that.
So he makes the 1010 movie, which I haven't seen. He makes Lincoln, which I love.
Fine.
He makes BFG during that decade, The Post,
Bridge
Yeah.
of Spies.
yeah, Bridges
Bridges
Spies, which is
Spies.
just okay.
Fine. Yeah.
Ready Player One, yeah.
I did not like Ready Player One at all.
It's like fourth from the bottom on my Spielberg list. I've only seen 30 of his movies, and that's number 27 on my list.
Yeah, yeah, I need to catch up on him. So my ranking just real quick. I'll just go through it. If anybody hasn't seen my Jurassic Park review, number 10 is Cinder's List. Number 9 is Catch Me If You Can. 8 E.T. 7 Saving Private Ryan. 6 Raiders of the Lost Ark. 5 Duel, which is
Oh,
a real.
Yeah, I've never seen that one.
Oh, it's
Duel's really good.
yeah.
Duel's really
Yeah.
good. But it's an
4
early effort. It's definitely an early effort.
Yeah. 4 Close Encounters, 3 Jaws, 2 The Last Crusade, and then 1 Jurassic Park and Fablemans.
Okay. Solid list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then other than Jurassic Park, I started reading How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that one.
I didn't realize how popular of an author he was.
Yeah.
Because I just know him from him being on like The Fear of God, and they talk about his books, but apparently like he enjoys a pretty high level of popularity among just horror nerds in general.
Yeah.
So,
What's interesting is like I always, I'll listen to these episodes from Fear of God, and they'll have these authors on there, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like a cool book. Probably never read it. So, but when they had Grady on the most recent time promoting How to Sell a Haunted House, I'm like, I think I'm gonna read that.
Cool. How's it so far?
It's really good. I'm tearing through it for sure.
Okay.
I'm almost like I'm one chapter away from finishing part 1.
Cool.
Because it's split up in different parts. Like a lot of books are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's something they do in books a lot.
yeah, but no,
Wild.
but no, I'm really liking it.
Oh, good. That's great.
Yeah. I really relate to it.
I love reading. Wish I had more time to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really relating to it surprisingly
Hmm. Cool.
because it deals with like a Southern family that's dealing with this death that happened, and I can't
Mm-hmm.
um. And like the main character has a rocky relationship, because it's her parents, so she had a rocky
Mhm.
relationship with with them, and then had a rocky relationship with her brother. So I
Mm.
can so I can relate to the whole the Southern mentality with family's always family and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure you can
Cool.
relate to that too, Jackson and Eric.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
If I ever finally write a novel, I know what it's going to be about, and it's going to also be about a death in a Southern family.
I really,
Yeah.
It's
I've
a
had this story
universal
in my head
theme.
for years. I've had this
Yeah.
story in my head for years, and I just can't make myself sit down and write the thing.
now, do
So,
you guys like reading books physically, reading it on a mobile device, or doing audiobooks?
Audiobooks 100% for me.
I love audio. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's just
find
easier. It's easier for me for the most
yeah.
part because I end up having to do it's like multitasking thing for me. So
Yeah.
I have to do a bunch of stuff just for work or general stuff outside of this
Uh-huh.
that involves like hands. And so it's just like putting that on for like a drive or for like building something. It's just like so much easier. And like um I love listening to music too, but sometimes just like putting on an audiobook, just letting it go, getting lost in it's
Mhm.
good. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer to read a book physically because I just feel like
Oh,
I'm engrossed into it. It's like vinyl, you know.
sure.
You're
No,
putting
for
an
sure.
investment into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, when you have a book sitting on your desk, you're like,
Hmm.
you physically see it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to read you.
Mhm.
That's true too. I will say that I've picked up and abandoned many audiobooks over the years.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just feel like you're more committed to the book when you're reading it physically compared
sure.
to it
You
digital.
paid for it, checked it out. Yeah, you either got to return it or you got to read it because you paid for it. You
Right.
know,
I mean, you're technically paying for the big digital eye, but
Yeah.
in some ways, yeah. I mean, some of them there's some free stuff on Audible, and there's like,
Mhm.
I mean, and it's just like credit based. So it's like if I have a surplus of credits and like they do a sale and I get like 4 books for like the price of two, and so it's like.
Hmm.
Did I pay for all those books? No. And am I inclined to start listening to Dracula again and never finish it? Yeah, probably. But
yeah,
will I pick up
I
eventually? Sure.
both like Dracula and did not like Dracula. I think there's a lot of
Never
parts of
finished it.
the book that meanders on for too long.
Sure.
But it does. I love how they do it like a journal. And I was watching a bit of a documentary on Shudder about found footage horror movies,
Hmm.
and one of the people on there basically said, "Well, Dracula is basically the first found footage horror movie."
Yeah.
Or
Fair
at
You can
least,
enough.
make the argument about Frankenstein too, in some ways, I guess. I
yeah.
mean, doesn't that start out with like letter writing, like back home from the Arctic?
Yeah.
In
Well,
there,
it's
right?
told
I can't
from.
remember.
Yeah, it has a sort of a first chapter where it's told from the point of view of like a ship captain,
Mm.
Hmm.
and then he meets Dr. Frankenstein, and the rest of the book is Frankenstein like telling the ship captain his story.
Oh,
So it's
that's
a
right.
little different, little
Yeah.
different. Whereas, yeah, with Dracula, it's all like journal entries, letters. Yeah, it's epistolary is the term for it. If you want to be fancy,
Mm.
an
Yeah,
epistolary novel.
yeah, yeah. So I like that one. So I think the next thing about reading talk is the book that you recommended, Jackson. The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay.
Oh, that book is incredible. I need to
Yeah,
reread
you
that at
really
some
sparked
point.
my interest on that.
It's and you'll love it because you love all that stuff about like comic book history and everything.
Yeah,
And
I
it,
feel like
yeah,
my thing with comic books is how I feel about wrestling. It's I never delve into it. Like I don't really watch
Yeah,
wrestling a lot, but I love the history behind it. Same thing with
yeah.
I don't really read comics, but I love
I get that. Yeah.
yeah. So I guess we can do this one thing real quick and we can wrap this video up or this
Sure.
episode up. Let's go around the room and say our favorite book if we have one. That's a hard
Well,
one. I know.
uh, mm, Jackson, if you know, go for it. I don't.
I can't decide between two.
You can do both.
Okay, one of them is It by Stephen King.
Oh, nice.
Mm,
I've read it multiple times, and that is a commitment to read that book.
yeah.
But the other one that's a little lesser known than that, still a pretty popular novel, is American Gods by Neil Gaiman.
Ooh, heard
Mm-hmm.
about it. I heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
It is awesome.
What's
Love that book.
What about it? Do you love? Do you like?
I just love. Okay, it has extremely well developed characters. Now I'm not going to say I like every single thing about it because it's a 1,200 page book. So
Yeah.
obviously it's going to have some stretches where it's just like, oh man, come on, Steve, get to the point.
Like serial orders and whatnot.
Well, there's that. That's a whole different thing. But I'm talking about like it goes into the whole history of this town,
Yeah.
like multiple little asides where it'll be a long chapter where he tells about stuff that has nothing to do with the main characters. It's just about the history of the town. And sometimes that stuff is not as interesting as you would like. Because,
Yeah.
Stephen King just sat down and started writing. And I mean, he's probably still writing that book.
Right.
But I don't know. I just really love it. The characters, you fall in love with them.
Mm-hmm.
You get some really beautiful passages. Yeah.
What about American Gods? What do you like about that book? And what is it about, first of all?
Okay, so American Gods, that one, so it's the idea behind the book is all of the gods that humankind has ever worshipped over our history. They all exist or did exist at some point, and they exist because people believe in them.
So it's like in ancient
Now,
Japanese. Like all the
sure, but it's not like that at all.
No,
so basically though,
Moralisms are true in those movies.
Yes, exactly. So, but the extension of that is once these gods' followers started coming to this continent, America, their gods came with them. But over the course of time, a lot of people stopped believing in these gods, which caused some of them to disappear completely, and some of them just lost much of their power.
Right.
So now they're stuck here, and they live in physical bodies. And they're stuck here, and nobody prays to them anymore. So now they just have to get like regular jobs. So you have like, one of the main gods in the book is Odin, and he's a con artist. You have the Russian god Chernobog, who's like the god of death, and he's been working in a slaughterhouse for decades.
Right.
You have all these really obscure gods. It gets into like Egyptian gods and a lot of Norse gods, and then there's these new gods, and they're like the gods of like technology and consumerism and stuff that's important to people now. And they are trying to eliminate the old gods once and for all. And the main character that's caught in the middle of this holy war basically is this guy named Shadow, who's just getting out of prison.
Right.
And he winds up on this cross-country trek all through America and meeting all these gods and piecing together like some mysteries and stuff of what's really going on. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Eric?
This is hard. I would say probably Making Movies by Sidney Lumet is a really good intro into sort of like movies made in the 70s. He's very meticulous in what he does. He's also just kind of a son of a bitch when it comes down to it, which is great. But it's very fun. It's a very fun read. And then the last like book that I ever read was probably it's a book by Edgar Carrets. It's Keret, I think. It's called Fly Already. And it's basically a collection of just like short stories. And they span the entire book. And so like stories range from like 30 pages to like 4 pages. And there's like stuff about like one story. My favorite story is one about a guy who its name of it's like the first time I was fired out of a cannon. And it talks about like him being fired out of a cannon and like being scared about it, and then he flies over all the people in his life, and he like it's very beautiful and poetic, and then like he lands and comes back and he's like he wants to do it again, basically is what it is. It's wonderful. But then there's a short story about like a kid who's like raised in eugenics and is like a second Hitler and like this weird like short
Oh
story. It's
goodness.
they jump the gamut between these sort of like sad, serious, wonderful, oddly science fiction, weird futures. There's one about like a Pokemon card game where the like basically drafts kids into like the army, and like there's 14-year-olds fighting wars. It's wild, and it's great.
What's it called?
It's a great book. Fly Already. And it's just a
Hmm.
collection of short stories by this guy. He's written many books before this. This is the first one I've read by him, but it's good.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think my two favorite books would have to be The Signing by Stephen King. I just related to that character so much.
Hmm.
That whole part where Danny is basically thinking about the room he's not supposed to go in, and he likens it to the tail of Bluebeard. Literally shivers down my spine. It was so
Hmm.
freaky.
Mm.
It scared the crap out of me. And then another one I really liked was the book about the making of one of the greatest so bad it's good movies. The Room would be The Disaster Artist.
Mm.
That's a good
That's
one.
ours
Yeah.
is a really good book. Yeah, it
I
is good.
love that. One of my favorite parts is when and then the middle of them filming The Room, I guess like Tommy Wiseau heard about 9/11
Hmm.
and he went in a moment of silence um to think about the tragedy of that. And then people, I guess, like kept talking or like interrupting the moment of silence. He's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, come on, guys, stop making a mouse eat around. It's your choice. Moment of
I
silence."
love the I love the structure of that book. That book
Uh-huh.
is in infinitely intriguing because it's like partially like behind the scenes and then partially like the building of this friendship, and they eventually
Hmm.
like interconnect at a certain point, but it's like it's kind of like oddly touching and like deeply disturbing at the
Oh
same
yeah.
time. It's a weird book. I love it though. I love it.
All right. Did you guys ever read Kevin Smith's book, Tough Shit?
Mm-mm.
No.
That one's really good. I love that one too.
Hmm.
Yeah, apparently one of my favorite parts is when he the whole run-in with the Redboro Baptist Church.
Mm.
I've heard him talk about that. Yeah, that is really
Yeah, cause
interesting.
he made Red State, what I still haven't seen yet, I probably should. So they
Fine.
basically protest the premiere of that movie.
Hmm.
And then I guess he joined all the protests.
Hmm.
And he wrote a picket sign, because they're famous for their picket sign that said "Dogma is dog shit." And I guess like one of the members of the Redboro Baptist Church basically told him to like erase the word shit, and he said, "Well, I'm just gonna say dogma is dog."
Dogma is dog, you know.
So I thought that was funny. And then the two fat to fly thing, he gets into that. If you never heard about that.
The which one?
So at that time, when he wrote the book, he was, heavy set.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've heard him
Yeah.
talk about that, but I've never read the book. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then you know how he goes around the country and he does all these Q&A kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this part where this little girl, who looks like the formerly named actress Ellen Page, and she said, "Hey, you look at that one chick from Juno, Ellen Page," and she was like, "Yeah, people call me Juno all the time." And then Kevin Smith goes, "Well, my nickname for a while was Too Fat to Fly." Even worse.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I know it's Elliot Page, but at the time,
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
sure,
it
sure,
makes
sure.
sense for the story.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to defend the trans community. I'm just saying in the context
No, it's fine.
of that.
And I will say along that same lines, Kevin Smith had a special. He did those like one-up specials where he would just go and talk for like 2 hours, and they would, yeah. But there was
Yeah.
one story he tells in there about writing a Superman movie.
Oh
Uh,
man, that story is nuts.
and I
Oh,
will say it is worth seeing The Flash for a brief glimpse of that, at least.
I have heard about this
Yeah.
this part of the movie.
yeah, Nicolas Cage.
I
in the
was
movie.
I was
Oh,
intrigued.
shoot,
Yes,
fuck! I spoiled it.
I was intrigued to find out if that was true. It's nice to know that it is.
Yeah,
That's
it
It
funny.
is it is in there. It is in there. And it's not it doesn't make up for a 2 hour and 24-minute movie, but it
Oh no,
almost
it did for
does in
me.
some ways.
I'm just gonna wait. I think I'm just gonna wait for it to show up on Max. I'm not gonna go to the movies to see this
Best
movie.
way to do it. Best way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably not gonna buy it on Blu-ray. Honestly, I'm
You're gonna buy it on Blu-ray?
not gonna buy it on Blu-ray.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
All right.
Yeah, I'll probably wait to buy it when it's like less than $20
Right.
on Prime, and then just keep watching the Michael Keaton Batman stuff.
Yeah. I wonder if they can sell me a version that's just the Michael Keaton Batman stuff in it and none of the other stuff. That's the
Well,
version
tell
I
me a
want.
version of that
It's
crap
like
Catwoman
25
movie
minutes
with
long.
Michael
It's
Keaton.
like 25 minutes. I'll watch that. What'd you say? Sorry.
Just give me a version of like that supposedly terrible Batwoman movie. Just give me Michael Keaton and Batman.
I'd watch that terrible Batwoman movie too.
Yeah,
Or Batgirl, whatever it is.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Feel like we went way off topic, although I guess there was no topic. So
There was no topic. It was
we're
just
here.
free for
We've
all.
reached the end.
Yeah, we talked about books that we like. We talked about superhero movies.
We always talk
all
about
over.
superhero movies.
Yeah, they're like modern Greek gods.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know this until we went to go see The Flash the other day. They're making another My Big Fat Greek Wedding movie.
I heard
The
about
third
that.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom loves the first one, so I grew up with that movie.
I guess every
First one's
10 or
great.
12 years, Nia Vardalos needs some money.
Mhm. Have you guys ever tried to get rid of a mole with Windex before?
No. I never thought it was real. Have you tried this?
No.
Are you about to admit that you tried
No,
to
I
put
never got
Windex
a
on a mole?
mole in a place
Okay.
where I could spray Windex at.
You've never had a mole at all ever in your life?
Well, I have a mole on my leg. I guess I can spray it on there.
I'm plagued with moles. I have them everywhere.
Really? Well, I don't want to know about that.
Yeah.
Well, try
I'm gonna show
Windex.
'em. You know what?
Apparently, it's a
At
miracle
this point,
cure.
It's a miracle.
spray it all over.
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
You know what's funny when you sung that in our Knock at the Cabin review? I didn't know what the hell you were singing. So it was
Oh,
fun.
really?
And then I typed it some of those stuff you said in there. I'm like, oh, it's the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Kimmy Schmidt, yeah.
Yeah,
Stay alive, damn it.
Yeah.
I've
Incredible.
never seen that. There's so many shows I need to watch.
That's a
starts
pretty
off
good
really
one.
good.
Yeah, it's not as good in the later seasons.
Mm.
Yeah. The first two seasons, solid. Solid as rocks.
Yeah.
It has got the funniest scene I've ever seen in a television show.
Not really.
Because there's a character named Titus Andromedon.
Oh, I love
And he
Titus.
is, well, for one thing, he's one of the funniest characters you'll ever see. But there's a scene where you can just go type this in on YouTube. Just go type in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Trident gum commercial. He's auditioning. He's an actor. He's auditioning for a Trident gum commercial. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen on television.
Wait, can we do
Really good.
Can we do there on here? Maybe we can
Do what?
Never mind. I was gonna see if we can do screen share, but I'm not gonna.
Oh,
Well, if people are gonna listen to this,
Just
it will make sense.
just for everybody out there,
yeah.
just go look it up. If you haven't watched
Go
it,
look up
go watch it.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Trident Gum, and be prepared to laugh your head off.
Right.
They hang from your lips like bats. Yes.
And that actress was one of the bridesmaids in Bridesmaids.
Yeah, and she was
yes,
on The
yes, yes, yes.
Office, and
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Also, the mom from Goldberg's was in Bridesmaids.
oh
yes,
yeah.
Wendy McClendon Covey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I gotta say, she's actually pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie. That Mrs. Goldberg had it going on.
Sure. Never watched the Goldbergs, but I've heard good things.
I haven't ever watched it either. I just know she was on Reno 911. That's what I've seen her in.
That's what I know her from. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bridesmaids, obviously.
I wish I heard that they were bringing back Reno 911.
They always bring it back. You know, they brought it back
Mhm.
once before, I think, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bring it back. I love it. I love. I mean, I think Niecy Rogers had like a resurgence with like that Ted Bundy show. So let's bring it back.
Ted Bundy.
I want some more new boot goofing. What now?
Are you talking about the Jeffrey Dahmer show?
Oh, the Dahmer show. Yeah, what'd I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Wrong
Serial
serial
killers
killer.
eating
Yeah.
people. Whatever. Yeah.
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 I actually did like the Ted Bundy movie. That one was pretty good.
I didn't
Which
see
one
it.
was that? I
The
don't
Zac
know. Yeah.
Efron one.
The which one?
The Zac Efron one.
Oh, I never watched it.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
But you guys got anything else to say?
I think we talked it all through.
I think we did.
Hit the gamut. We ran it
Yeah,
all the way up and
this
down.
time.
We're at hour 51.
Wow, it's crazy.
I mean, but you don't have to edit it. You just post it.
Yeah,
Let's drop it.
If
See
somebody
what
wants to
happens.
listen, they can listen.
Yep.
Whatever masochist out there just wants to listen through us ramble.
To us talk
through-
about
Ramble
all these
on.
different things.
I'm sure someone out there loves it.
I'll
They're just
probably
like,
go
"Yes."
back and listen to it. I enjoy listening to us talk.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy
fun.
listening to like two dudes named Griffin and David talk for like 3 hours about like Batman
Sure.
Returns.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that show is so entertaining. I'm so impressed by like
That
Griffin
shows
knowledge.
they do 2.5, 3 hour episodes all the time. I don't know how they
Mm.
do it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild.
Stamina. Take
Yeah.
breaks. Water breaks. You know.
Water boy. But anyways, guys, if you like this episode and you want to see more spooky and weird content, make sure you slap that subscribe button and don't forget to leave this episode a killer comment and a King Kong size thumbs up. This has been Drew from Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. Over and out. Bye.
Bye bye.